It's a fact you're not here. You ain't even real, but you still bring me fear. You make my bones so tired that my soul stands up. But now I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. It's like I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. Oh.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to The Working Wing, the podcast where every week we watch an episode or two of The West Wing and break it down with our own unique leftist perspective. My name is Tim Schultz, and joining me, as always, my dear friend, longtime debate partner, and a man who last May led a coup d'etat in this country, Killian Collins.
Thanks, Tim, and I was not there on January 6th, so or the 4-month remembrance as Toby might be referring to. Right
Yeah.
There, so never forget. Anyway, yeah, though quite some interesting stuff. It'd be interesting to see what Toby would think about January 6th.
Oh, I would love to hear what Toby thought about January 6th.
All right, but yeah. So far, the 2 episodes we got today, we decided to skip the 17th one, or was it the 17th one or 18th? Yeah, it was the 17th one.
And the first episode we watched kind of opens up with Toby recapping the main takeaway from that. His arc there was following why Hoynes, the vice president, would chastise the oil industry.
Oh, okay. So, because the beginning of this episode, well, the episode I'm talking about is episode number 18 of season 2, called 17 People, which is not confusing at all in terms of numerical numbering your episodes. But, yeah, it starts off with Toby nailing that ball against the wall. If you ever like better,
I love the opening. Actually, I love both these openings, and we'll get to the second one later. But yeah, the opening of this is just 100% mood.
Yeah, well, and that's all it is. It's a lot of.
It's Leo being really bad at deflecting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Toby being obsessive and inquiring, and then
he is on this shit.
And the use of the ball being used as like kind of like a metronome. The ball being bounced as a kind of metronome for the gears turning in Toby's head. Nice little analogy there.
Yeah.
Even though it is just like, I mean, granted, it's like I had to have watched like the one previous to that, but I have a feeling it was kind of like much like what was that little episode about like Mr. What's his name from Ohio? Like,
no, it was like in the one we skipped. Basically, the Bartlett administration wanted to chastise oil companies for their opposition to some regulation. And they were going to have the energy secretary do it, but then Hoynes stepped up being like, no, actually, I'm the Southern Democrat who's been an oil man my entire life. Let me admonish him, and then that will really get the play that we're looking for.
Okay.
And Toby was like, you are a career oil man, though. You love the oil companies. Why would you step up to chastise them? And he finds out it's because Hoynes had a poll in the field that said that voters did not like his pro-oil stance.
So he decided to switch up for what reason? What could be the reason?
What could be happening? Yeah, exactly. So that's what Toby is trying to dig into here.
Night after night over a series of 3-4 nights until basically Leo goes up to the president and tells him that hey, Toby's asking a lot of questions. We might need to take
yeah, we might need to either kill him or let him in, basically.
Yeah, to take some sort of dramatic measure. Josh and Sam and Josh get an urgent call that they needed so badly about the correspondence dinner.
Yeah, no, they read the script for the correspondence dinner. It isn't funny, and so who else in the federal government could possibly this is not how the process works, fundamentally. And I know this for a fact because I've heard comedians talk about how like when Stephen Colbert hosts like the White House Correspondents' Dinner, his staff also writes the president's address. Like they bring in outside writers to write the president's address when he's doing comedy. Because guess what? White House staffers who are like nerdy lawyers aren't good comedy writers.
Not at all. Well, and that's the thing. It shows with all this, with like what they're trying to write. Because the first thing I thought of is like, oh, we need to insert our own like state propaganda in here, which is like pretty much well, that's what you're doing. You're throwing in your own perspective to make your job in the government easier.
Yeah,
like that's the idea.
It's so fucking stupid, and the jokes they come up with aren't funny either.
No, and they say that, and they keep saying that they forgot the funny. They forgot the funny in the speech, and it's like
so did Aaron Sorkin in the comedy writing set. Like after he leaves West Wing, his next show is a show about like the SNL writing staff, basically. And like I can't imagine. After watching this, I cannot imagine that show is any good. I've never watched it, but I can't imagine it's any good.
Probably not. I mean, I like finding out more about like the SNL writers based on like the other things that they do.
I mean, yeah, like I loved Live from New York, but like oral history of SNL. But like basically I've heard that show kind of how Aaron Sorkin treats the White House staff as like way more important than they actually are.
Mm-hmm.
He does the same thing with the SNL writing staff of like they're being like the writers are being like mobbed by reporters like outside the building, and it's like the stars of SNL aren't even mobbed by like reporters outside the building. The writing staff, no one knows who these people are.
The writing staff is like you don't know about who these people are. Like Tim Robinson's probably one of the best examples I can think of, where it's like, well, no, you know who he is because he has his own shows. And,
no one knew Conan when he was on SNL because he was a writer. Like
no one knew him on The Simpsons either when he was just a writer. You're right. They write funny stuff, but these White House these White House nerds cannot.
No, they cannot.
Yeah. Then we have a little side storyline of Josh got Donna flowers because it's their anniversary.
Yes. Josh's abandonment issues are on like full-fledged. And
I really hate this little will they won't they that he's written into the second season with Josh and Donna. Like
let's keep track of the shit that should have gotten Josh fired for sexual harassment, because there's definitely a comment in here.
Yeah, him and Sam like both like would have been gone in like in the Tens era. He reams her about her ex, about like why he left her job to like go try to pursue a relationship that she thought would be happy, and like how dumb she is to pursue that. Like, wow, yeah. So that's number one. I'll count that as one for right now.
Yeah,
tell you that on there. Sam and Ash, Sam asks Ainsley to come and help with the speech because she's got nothing better to do, and she tells him that she's about to go to some women's convention that's like against like the Equal Pay Act.
Yeah, it's like a discussion panel. She went to Smith College, which is like a famous like all women's feminist liberal arts college.
They're so feminist that they can have like fashy feminists there too.
Right. Well, exactly. and she says that. She says that like Sam is like, they're gonna hate you, and she's like, I'm a straight white Republican. You think they didn't hate me the first time?
Like it's like, and their entire idea of like a big
right. Oh, and like this becomes much bigger later. But yeah, the fact that's like, oh, white people are white Republicans are the face of like so much discrimination at universities. That's a very big like modern right-wing talking point.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Jordan Peterson talks about it all the fucking time.
Oh yeah, he doesn't shut up about it. But it's and when it's mostly just it's like, well, no, it's her politics, and it's the fact that this liberal college that she go, or this wannabe liberal college, like that's so great and all inclusive that they'll include all these crazy views, no matter what they are, as long as you're a woman having them. So.
Yeah, I mean, I find it hard to care that much about the ERA. But...
No, I really, exactly. It's kind of just like a non-issue, and it's kind of it's funny though because
it's like she says the 14th Amendment already includes sex as a protected class. So it's
right. And she just wants to have a discussion panel, but Sam decides to include himself, and to like trying to dissuade her from going and prove that she's wrong before she's already, when she's already bought her ticket and like is going to go this thing. And he's going to like try and like argue with her like all night about it because like, he doesn't want to like, I guess he doesn't want to write these jokes, or he wants to like hit that discussion with that he's having with Ainsley into this speech. I don't know. It makes me think of one of our conversations late at night where we're just like,
you're not going to get anywhere, but
right,
we're still talking.
Exactly. The president. So the president has a meeting with Toby and Leo in his office, and the president's just up front and tells him that he's got MS. They really drag this out, though. They
drag this out, but I don't know. I got like. I had such a masterful acting class from like they drag it out, but that does give you time to have like close-ups on like Richard Schiff's face.
No, honestly,
and, like, he has a Jeremy Strong like ability to do shit with his face.
It's three strong actors in a room, like just having scenes together, and it's more so just the matter of like the subject matter staying out. And
right, exactly. You have to separate it from like the actual material, but this is a masterful acting performance, especially from Richard Schiff.
Yes, and give him lots of credit for him. For the speech, the Dems just the idea is that these White House staffers, Sam and all them, just all they want to do is just kind of make fun of Republicans and make Democrats look good, and it's like exactly like a little propaganda party they're going to have. Their host is Bill Maher.
Right, and we're not going to make fun of the host. And it's like, you're not going to go after Bill Maher, like one of the easiest targets in all of entertainment,
especially today. I think back in the day, he used to have a lot more. So he used to be seen as like the voice of the left. Like, I mean, that's what's really sad is that like
that explains why the left has like gone the way it has, because like everyone hates Bill Maher and having him be the voice of the left.
And even Bill Maher is saying like, well, I never changed like any of this. It's like, well, yeah, you were always like,
right. Well, I feel like Jon Stewart, like once you move into the odds, Jon Stewart really took like once the Bush era starts and the Daily Show really gets going. At least to me, Jon Stewart was always more the voice of the left than Bill Maher.
Oh yeah, but this is before that time.
That's true. That's true. This was the Craig Kilborn period of the Daily Show.
Pretty much like but no, you're absolutely right is that like other platforms decide to like kind of take that platform and are running with it, and I think that landscape is still changing rapidly to this day. Leo tells Toby about how long he knew. Toby cannot stand about like how many Toby in his head is counting the amount of people who knew about it and who were lying to the country, and like to him who are just lying to the country about
right. When he's like, the president has a physical every year. Those physicals have given him a clean bill of health. Those officers are going to be court-martialed for like falsifying documents, which made me think of that whole. I mean, like Biden and Trump have both had like clean physicals and like certified good mental health, and there's no way that's true. There's no fucking way either of those things are true. Both of those guys are old decrepit fucks.
Like there's got to be something going on, but nothing that they're willing to disclose.
But yeah, we should get some like president's physician courts martial here.
Hey, that's like, hey, dude. I mean, I know plenty of people who just want to like turn the whole presidential campaign to like, well, let's have Joe Biden do some push-ups against RFK Jr. Let's see like who can do more push-ups. But just like, oh shit. I mean, it's becoming that we're in that part of idiocracy at this point. Like we're getting there.
Well, and the thing, like RFK is in his mid-60s. It's not like he's some like fucking like spring chicken either.
He's definitely much more of a spring chicken than the other decrepit.
I mean, comparatively.
But I see your point. I do see your point. Yeah, comparatively, but it's still not saying much. I mean, for his 60s, he doesn't look. He doesn't. He could look worse. I'll just say that. Like,
yeah. He's got that Kennedy treatment. He's been at the secret compounds.
He's getting that stuff that Tom Brady gets injected to him.
Yeah, exactly. Games. Exactly. It's that New England Illuminati secret.
But yeah, Toby cannot move on. Toby cannot move past this. He's showing Leo that he is going to be an aggressor in all this.
Yeah. Well, because it's like when you think about it from like Toby's standpoint, it's a huge fucking like bombshell. The president's like, oh yeah, no, I like did not disclose my MS to the public for years and years and years.
Yeah. At this point, about 3 years.
8 years.
Oh, 8
But
years.
he was governor of New Hampshire when he was diagnosed, I'm pretty sure.
Oh man. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, Charlie tells we get Charlie telling Josh and Abby that he tells Josh that Abby won't be at the correspondence dinner. Josh is like, oh,
so that
why?
which is great, actually great news for them, because that means they can't use that stupid line item veto in my prenup joke that they came up with. Like, that's the one joke that they're so happy with, and it's not even a good joke.
No, that's the best that they got though. Yeah, Sam is making. Sam is making. Oh. Yeah, I can't. No, I think I just have Sam mocking Ainsley more. I can't remember.
Yeah, whatever. It's all the same shit.
Which is just sad, because it's just like, what's funny is it's like, as a character, Ainsley, it's like, yeah, it's like kind of good to have a character that like has like throws a little perspective in there, jokes around a little bit, but it's just she's kind of like a little like dumb bimbo sexy punching bag for Sam, and I kind of hate that about this dynamic that they have. Toby's uncertainties make him just start getting them nuts. I'm not sure if this is the scene with this is the scene where he
goes off on the night that the president was shot, and he was put under anesthesia, and apparently there's supposed to be a letter signed. I don't know how this usually works, but like apparently there's supposed to be a letter signed, and Bartlett didn't sign the letter. And so, but like we saw that scene at the start of the season where the vice president was in the situation room with Leo and all the top people.
And they're all looking
at
him.
Everyone was looking at the vice president, and it was like Leo versus Nancy, this national security advisor, and the president was like, no, we're gonna go with what Leo wants to do, which Bartlett does all the time. Like, if there was a coup d'etat in this country, it started when Bartlett was sworn in and immediately relegated like half of all of his power to Leo.
Yeah, and it is kind of funny, because like really like what Toby is so upset about is that like none of these people were elected and none of these decisions are being made. When it's like, well, really those decisions that are being made if the president goes down, and honestly most of those decisions that are already being made and have been made well before they get to the president's desk anyway. Those have all been made by whatever donors told the president to put in his cabinet.
Right.
Like whoever, like those decisions have already been made. Like it's almost as if with like the elections today, it's like, well, we already lost the election, no matter whatever choice you're voting for. Like you've already lost this one. Well, many cycles before the start of this election, like your choices have already kind of been made for you. You just kind of get to swing it. Are
we at a democracy is an illusion point in this show already?
Kinda. I just was like getting to the point of, like you only have that little bit of a sway right there. I mean, honestly, and in local politics, you actually have much more of a say in that subject. Like your vote means significantly more in that type of arena than the national arena. But
in theory,
yeah, it should certainly, but definitely takes a bigger portion of the pie.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and then sometimes you'll get things like the state of Texas just like seizing like control of like Houston's police department and school districts from Houston because they don't like the way Houston is running things.
Yep.
Rat fuckery shit like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, dude, we believe in freedom until this point, though.
Yeah, right until it goes against us.
Ainsley then continues to argue with Sam. Toby wants people. Toby wants them all court. Yeah, he wants people court-martialed for all this. Ainsley has a one-liner on her exit. I think that's like something about like a peach. Like it was the same point you made about like.
Yeah, no, it was like the 14th Amendment protects me the same as it protects you, and I went to law school just to make sure. Now I'm gonna go get the peach. Yeah. Which is true, and like the thing is, like my point, my take would be, the 14th Amendment also protects like equal voting rights. And the right has chipped away and ignored those protections in every single way they can. And adding another amendment wouldn't really do anything. They would just ignore that and chip away at it and undermine it as much as they can as well.
Yeah. Pretty much. Don, I have in here, Donna and Josh are talking, and like Josh is still having his full abandonment complex like on full display, and says that like something about like, well, if you were in the hospital, I wouldn't stop for a beer, and then Donna tells him like, if you were in the hospital, I wouldn't stop for red lights.
I have seen so many Tumblr. I have seen multiple Tumblr gifs of that moment.
Oh wow, I can imagine that this would be like. Yeah, big Tumblr.
Yeah, you know, with like the fancy fonts and shit. Like, yeah, people. I mean, this was early internet days, but people shipped this.
Yeah,
in there in the scene with Toby, I love when Martin Sheen goes off a little bit. And he's like, "Shut up!"
Yeah,
and he starts going off on Toby, calling him basically jealous. Being like, you're not mad that I didn't tell you. You're mad that I told 15 people before I told you. Which is kind of like, I always kind of like that because like there is always an element of like star fucking, I think, in the White House and its staff of like who's closest to the president.
Well, I think that he just kind of gets the real motivation too. It's because it's all the points we mentioned. Is it's like, well. Toby, if like you're really concerned about like who's not getting elected and making decisions, it's like you got a lot more to worry about than
right. I think his concern is more of a political thing of like I have to run this presidential campaign. That's just revealed a major flaw of a major fraud on the country.
Yeah. And like, how do I distance myself from it? Like, well, do I distance myself from it? How can I work with it? Like. All those questions, you know, I think Bartlett. I have written down here. Bartlett gets to the part of the question of like, well, why didn't you tell anyone earlier? It's like, well, every part of me belongs to you,
which is bullshit, really.
Yeah, it is. It is totally just like,
come on, that is a materially relevant piece of information to disclose to the public when you're running for public office, and Bartlett knows that. There's no argument it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty fucking much. Like it's like if you're a private citizen and you're doing your own thing and not affecting the abilities of other people with your direct power, then you know it's a different story. But
yeah, somewhere in there it's revealed that the president regularly is receiving exotic injections of medicine from his wife, Woodrow Wilson style. That all seems legit. You know, that's all probably fine.
A liberal darling once taught in schools, Woodrow Wilson, you know. And then I know then we have like the name of the episode. Toby tells them 17 people, you know. It's like there's 17 people I've counted who knew.
Yeah, that's the big, that's like that's where President, I think that's where Bartlett, because he's really calling Bartlett to account, being like, you also knew about this and you also have like the same moral responsibility that everyone else does.
And I'm already getting put in this spot, but 17 other people are going to be in this spot as well.
Yeah.
So. But then then we have the end of this episode and we cut into this third end of this 3-parter that we're covering 2 parts of. Bad Moon Rising. Or kind of a 3-parter.
Yeah, and we meet Oliver Platt. You haven't watched The Bear yet, but
you know what's funny, Tim? I started watching The Bear last night. I did pass out in the middle of it, but like it's really good so far. I got into like I think like right around the 2nd episode, but already like very good stuff so far. But I recognize this act from the Fargo TV series too. He was really good in that.
Okay, that's one that I still need to catch up on.
Yeah, it's a pretty good time.
But yeah, here he is a world weary White House lawyer just looking to go on vacation and complaining that
on a forced vacation.
Yeah, his staff has like set up a whole Watergate situation on him. He's got a tape recorder that won't stop recording.
Because that always ends up very good. He makes the joke even of that always ends up very well for White House counsels in the past.
I mean, I will say those Nixon tapes really are the gift that keeps on giving. Like, I still hear clips from those things on like podcasts here, like 60, 70 years later.
Sometimes they're just
fascinating stuff. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I feel like we should probably clip a couple of those, put those on the show.
Yeah. One of my favorites was when Roe v. Wade was handed down, and there's a clip of Nixon talking about it in the Oval Office, and he's like, "Well, yeah, no, I can see the use of abortion. Like if a white woman and a colored man ever conceived a child." It's like, what the fuck? Richard Nixon, everyone.
A man with his mind on the American zeitgeist at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, he gets a call in from Leo and the president, Leo and the president come and visit him. They tell him the situation about, can you tell me if there are 16 people that I may have implemented in a criminal conspiracy?
And then he goes and bow, start smashing the fuck out of that broken tape recorder. It's a great fucking comedy beat that always makes me laugh. I've seen this episode probably half a dozen times, and it gets me every time.
Yeah. But him creating probably the most common piece of trash that you'd ever find in the White House is like a smashed computer. Smashed piece of hardware or recording device or we then get Josh is getting a call. He's got to go to some meeting. He's telling Donna that they've got to bail out Mexico because
Mexico has crashed. Mexico's crashed.
I wonder if NAFTA's got anything to do with that. Probably not.
Right.
Though.
Well, no, yeah. like Josh later gives LaDonna a litany of problems that would happen to like her fictional textile guy if he lost his job, and he'd be like, yeah, there are no jobs for anyone but like high-paid computer people anymore, and how's a 50-year-old man supposed to do that? And it's like, yeah, Josh, how is a 50-year-old man supposed to get a job in computers, which are the only jobs left after NAFTA? Interesting.
And even with that, with the competition and that being told ahead of time, those jobs are going to get more limited. And then on top of that, there's going to be more.
This was like before we even started, like a couple years after this, or probably during this episode, was like the mass movement of all those basic computer jobs over to Asia.
I think this is like before
India in particular.
This is before the .com crash too. Like this is.
Yeah,
they got a whole lot of financial worry to worry about. Like they're living in the golden era right now.
Right, they are.
Anyway, so Josh meets with the committee in the Roosevelt room to like go squeeze some money out of somewhere. Or I think Josh is basically just gonna try to like convince Republicans.
Basically, yeah, they're like we'll cover because I think they said they have like $60 million in loans due, and the U.S. is going to cover those loans. Yeah.
CJ is with the press, and she informs them about an oil spill that occurred in Delaware. Yada yada. It's news to Sam.
Sam's because this is you remember early in the season when Sam was buying that boat and had to flip out before finding Jesus.
When Sam had that little like gay lover scene with Josh.
Yes, that classic rom-com. Yeah, Josh out of the rain, and like the yes, let's all right.
Yeah, with Sam just totally.
It was a combination of rom-com and cult recruitment. But now.
But yeah, no, it was for the company that Sam was working for, and he was suggesting that they not buy these boats and they buy something better. But after they'd already secured their deal and everything, just kind of making an ass of himself.
And then there's a leak. There was a top level White House leak about a vouchers program, and Toby is flipping the fuck out about that. He wants no leaks coming out of the White House. Period. Right now.
Mm-hmm. Like to the point of screaming and being able to hear him in silent rooms.
Yeah.
Oliver's grilling the president on who knew, informs him that, hey, guess what, buddy? You know that whole attorney-client privilege? Like, you don't have that with me. I'm a government lawyer. Like, I have to disclose everything that you tell me to, and I can't lie under oath. So if you really need to protect yourself, you need to go find you need to get private counsel.
But Bartlett is so naive and stupid about this entire process too, because it's like he's like, I don't need to protect myself. And
right.
Like,
innocent people decided not,
innocent people don't need lawyers. Like,
right. I'm an innocent person.
Bullshit.
Just go talk to the cops. Just let them interview you.
That's at the end too. It's like, no, you're gonna let every fucking prosecutor in this country grill you. And it's like, no, that's the opposite that any lawyer should be telling their client.
Like find a different lawyer. Like it's like that's telling me.
I love Oliver Platt, but I don't think he's got the Bartlett's best. I mean, that's kind of what he's
he basically comes in and says, listen, I'm gonna carve you up and I'm gonna grill you and I'm gonna serve you to them on the platter that they want. Okay, and if you decide to run, I'm gonna hunt you down. Okay,
that's actually a pretty good Oliver Platt.
And that's pretty much the speech at the end is that, which to me
doesn't ring true, because it's not like the White House counsel is like, oh, we're just gonna find the best lawyer and put him in there. No, you find a partisan hack lawyer who's gonna represent your interests.
I mean,
your agenda.
The thing is, it depends on the purposes and depends on what you're trying to do it for. I think that there will be some consideration.
Because also the White House counsel is not the Solicitor General either.
No. But I do think that there will be campaigns that will try to find people who might be more in the middle of the road, or people who intentionally, because they're trying not to seem partisan, will try to find people who are supposedly bipartisan. But I think there's usually quite a bit of mask to that. Anyway, Josh hears Toby. Yeah, Josh is in the Roosevelt room, negotiating with the Republicans, and he overhears Toby screaming in his office and can't pay attention. And then then he complains to Donna that there's something to be said for fascism, because you don't have to. You can just move forward right ahead with allocating the money for your puppets, I guess. So CJ won't be able to find, and CJ says that she's not going to be able to find the mole. Because Toby's way too hot and pissed off, and anyone who might be willing to admit that they were the leak definitely aren't going to do it now, because they're all hearing that Toby's on the warpath for him.
It should be noted, Josh does fast forward to 2008 and the financial crisis, or 2020 and the COVID crisis. The government did just build $1 trillion slush funds that they could just hand out like candy to anyone who needed it.
But not for schools or roads or anything.
Not for schools or roads. Mostly for small business people.
Cool. As long as they get from the banana plantation, or whatever cash crop or whatever textile they're selling off there, as long as they get from there to the airport or the shipping yard, those are the only roads that matter, man.
That's fine. It's all good.
We find out that Charlie's a junior in college. I guess he's going.
They're really glamming up Charlie here, really highlighting his academic credentials.
Which is really wow, Charlie, maybe you should just be
Charlie, why are you? Well, you should just be. you are way more qualified for this job than Sam.
You also don't sexually harass people. You don't hang around prostitutes, and then come and visit them, come and harass them in the middle of the night, with your White House buddies. Sam then meets with a naval officer who then tries to explain how this oil spill occurred. And apparently it goes up to just choppy waves, and then moving the knots way too fast, and then
having an old decrepit navigation system.
Yeah, and approaching the dock way too fast, not being able to slow down, and
which is, I think, the case for all of it. But it ultimately comes down to gross negligence and malfeasance on the part of all of these oil companies.
Yeah, I would say the operators too. I mean, I'm not sure but if the navigation sucks too, it's just. Yeah, what can you do besides just go back to the source of who bought it? But then the president tells the council. President tells Counselor Oliver that he has never signed anything about MS. He's never signed a public document about it. Underline that part. CJ's with CJ tries to grill this guy Jamie Hodgkiss about if he's a leak, and of course he's like, "No, I'm not, and I wouldn't tell you if I did know. Bye-bye." And CJ just is kind of willing to fall on the sword herself and just be like, I'm just willing to tell him I'm the fucking leak. Like, I don't care. I just want to be done with this shit. Like, nobody what's the big deal here? Donna and Josh tussle. Yeah, they tussle about the bailout, and Donna has her imaginary textile worker that who works so hard, and why is he and his wife works telemarketing at night to like make sure his daughter has like trumpet lessons, and how is he gonna he's thanking Josh for bailing them out, to which Josh says like, well, the Mexican workers won't be able to pay for your textiles that you're selling if the economy's completely trash, which is also partially true, but it's also like, well, why are they in that situation in the first place, Josh?
Yeah.
Like how did it get to that point? Like, I'm just wondering too. It's like how's the food situation down there? Is it like, are their groceries more expensive? Is that because like, maybe they have to import all their food now that they were growing for years? I wonder what made that happen, Josh.
Yeah.
I wonder what Democratic administration would like pass some sort of like draconian fucking economic policy that's a Republican's absolute wet dream, and just like pass that off as if like you're helping the American consumer.
Yeah.
Like,
well, Democratic administration would finish the economic program of Ronald Reagan that he wasn't successful at, and then pass it off as like a great liberal accomplishment.
Pretty fucking much of just saying that, like, wow, hey, we got cheap shit for dumb people, for people. And I shouldn't even say dumb people. It's like we got cheap shit for poor people.
Poor people.
And so guess what? Like we're champions of the working class, but the
top 10% of the country is doing better than ever. And we don't really think about the rest.
Hey guys, you can stretch out your dollar a little bit further, and guess what? You're really going to need to tenfold.
But don't worry, we also changed banking regulations, so now J.P. Morgan and Citibank have some great programs. They would love some really dirt cheap mortgages. They would love to straddle you with.
And we got this fucked up thing coming up in the future called cryptocurrency. It might work for you, but it probably won't. It's kind of like gambling. Anyway, after
if cryptocurrency was half as good at security as casinos were, I would feel a lot better about it. But like every single one of them is just like completely vulnerable to being fucked with, and they're all frauds to begin with.
Oh yeah, so are the casinos too.
The casinos are too,
but so is our economic system as well. And it's I'm just pointing out the reason why people are getting so desperate, why they're putting their money into this fucking
casinos will at least give you free drinks.
Well, yeah. I mean, hey, if you bought at the dip and like you sold when it was high, you might be able to buy yourself a computer or something. But that's what that's why the casinos rely on. Like that's what the crypto pros rely on too. Is it's like they're like, buy at that dip, you'll be rich, man. Like you'll be rich. Anyway, Sam barges into Ainsley's office again, as he likes to do. Barges into her office and like refers to like he likes this piece of classical music because it has the phrase G string.
And Sam, you are also fired. Get out of here.
Right, you're also fired. Actually, that's one. I only have one for Josh, but that's like two for Sam so far. Like,
yeah, no, there was like there was something about Donna, if you've got your old high school Catholic school uniform, I appreciate the sentiment. All right, Josh, you're done. Please pack your bags and go. Yeah.
Go home and
there was something also about like discipline or something, and he was like, I appreciate the offer, but like something like that.
Unless you want to go home and get your tools.
Yeah.
Like, not in front of everyone.
Something like that, like,
and which feels way more to me like these actors are just kind of like impromptu having fun. Like,
well, no, the thing is no actors were ever allowed to impromptu have fun on the set of West Wing.
God damn it, dude! That
no,
makes it so much worse.
There was no every word you hear on an episode of the West Wing is written by Aaron Sorkin. He allowed
that makes it so much worse
from his scripts. Yeah.
Because it's like I can imagine two actors just being like, oh, there's not much to do with this scene. Well, let's like make this little weird dynamic. Oh, that'll be funny if you say that. Oh, I think that'll be funny if I respond like this. And they kind of riff that, but like,
no, this is why Richard Schiff spent so much time hectoring Aaron Sorkin, because if he wanted something to happen with Toby, he had to get Aaron to write it for him.
I also just wonder why. Okay, I keep thinking back to Richard Schiff in the I Am Sam movie. It's just like he couldn't have done that movie without just like wondering like, yeah, because it's also the same type of thing of like this lawyer's arguing like this, but I guess like he's playing a cold motherfucker in that movie. Like I guess I mean that's the only way I can justify it. Yeah, Sam defends Kensington to Ainsley, says that he sold him the boats.
No, he's saying he's not defending Kensington. He's like,
he had defended them. I apologize.
Yeah, he wants to try to take him down, and he's willing to like go to jail to do it. It's a really wild moment.
He wants to get disbarred. He's willing to get disbarred to do it, which is like, well, I mean, he's not practicing law, and
but like Ainsley says, no lawyer would allow him to like that would be inadmissible testimony no matter what, because all the stuff he's saying was originally made under privilege.
Right. Like you're pretty much like a cop, just like trying to like, do a coerced confession and just be like being able to like reasonably use it in court. Like,
I mean, I would love to see these. I mean, he's right that these oil companies need to pay. Now, I think 500 million is too low. Like $1 billion, $2 billion. I mean, their profits are so outrageous that like, what is the number that would really actually hurt them?
They actually have they have an entire monopoly over it. I mean, I think you kind of know where I stand. It's like I'm kind of like that's the type of thing that should be a government control type of thing.
It should.
Like, but it's just like these private companies. We play ball with them as opposed to like making them play ball with us. So that's.
But I mean, in many ways, the government, that's still a hard time keeping the government accountable for the shit that they control too. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
there are still like this has been on the news because of Oppenheimer, but there are still people who lived in like the outer edges of the fucking first ever nuclear test who are still trying to get compensation for the damages they suffered at the hands of the American government, and these are American citizens,
Yeah. That open light, yeah, and
I mean, forget about like the people of Bikini Atoll or the Japanese, like the American citizens who were hurt by the bomb still can't get compensation,
and those just for tests.
Yeah, for tests.
That's just for that. Just to show the Soviets like how much we can do to them, and. Yeah. Also, Sam apparently like worked in the liability shield because Ainsley said like how good's liability.
Yeah, no, Sam. It's kind of like a very breaky scene from Sam as well, being like, "I'm the best lawyer ever. There's no way the government could ever."
Which also that tells me it's like no, charge them on like this liability.
It'll probably break. Yeah.
Yeah, we can just push on it a little bit. Yeah, it'll do the trick. Charlie then finds the president's signature on Zoe's college application.
Yeah, he's like searching through his own college paperwork and has a oh shit moment because it turns out that whatever college Abby goes Zoe goes to requires a full family medical history, and when it's a minor, the parent has to sign all the paperwork.
Been invasive for a college application.
A bit invasive, but then again, they have duty of care over their students, especially minor students. So
yeah, that's true. Oliver's pissed off with Leo. Leo's trying to inquire like where are we at with this? Oliver can't answer any questions. Charlie informs Leo about what he knows. Leo sets out to get all of Zoe's applications from Georgetown. Donna tells CJ that Donna just tells CJ that she's the leak, and also that she.
Yeah, great bit from Donna. It was she's the leaker, and if CJ goes to her parents' house in Madison, she'll find the Lindbergh baby in the basement, along with a reminder of where Donna hid the body of Jimmy Hoffa.
Jimmy Hoffa.
I
don't know who the Lindbergh baby is. That's a dated reference.
Baby? Oh, it's like one of the first big like media explosions. Charles Lindbergh was the first pilot, was first American to cross the ocean in a plane, or
Okay.
circumnavigate the world in a plane.
Okay. So
and his baby disappeared and was never found again. It was a huge media extravaganza, kind of at the dawn of media extravaganzas, like in the 1920s.
Okay, yeah, I did that. That is a very dated reference that I did not know. That is like a 20s. Okay,
it's one of the things, and it's an unsolved mystery. Still, no one knows what happened to the Lindbergh baby.
Oh wow. Well, somebody knows, but Toby's not listening.
Charles Lindbergh, incidentally, kind of a Nazi. Big fan of Hitler. Did not think we should be involved in World War II. Campaigned aggressively to keep us out of it.
Sounds kind of like Henry Ford, you know, another great American Nazi. Then Leo sets up, but she greatly sent that. Oh yeah, then Josh like comes into Donna to like cite the Lend-Lease Act and cite that like he's going to do that because that's the most patriotic thing he can like think of, for just like, yeah, of course we can give away our money. Like, just reference World War II, guys. We're fighting the Nazis, guys. It's like always fine. But even though this is a different situation where it's like, well, no, you as America, your economic policy caused this crash more than likely, but you're just viewing it as in like being
Lend-Lease was a mixed bag, because like, yes, well, the money we spent, you know, in Europe on the British and Soviets was actually going to fight the Nazis. The money that we spent on like the nationalists in Japan was like mostly being embezzled or being used to fight the communists.
Oh, the Mujahideen.
So like, the effectiveness was like very
even in more recent history, it's like Jimmy Carter like was armed with the Mujahideen and they were freedom fighters, and Ronald Reagan was saying these people are freedom fighters. And Osama bin Laden is a freedom fighter.
I could go back,
He's just like George Washington.
Yeah, we definitely came to regret some of that Lend-Lease money when the Cold War broke out.
Oh, I think we're still gonna regret it. I think we're still making those type of mistakes today, but that's for another time. Like,
yes.
Especially without oversight, but that's another discussion.
I agree. We need oversight.
Doubly so, Tim. I'm glad we can agree on that.
The Pentagon budget is a black hole with like no accountability whatsoever, and that needs to change.
It's almost kind of like it's a black hole to like create further problems that they themselves need more money to have to solve again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, there hasn't been a complete audit of defense spending in like over 15 years, I think.
They fail every single one. I think they failed the last 5, and then this most recent one, they were saying like, well, guys, it's a good learning opportunity. It's like, but
you haven't found all the money. Where is the money going though? Can we find the money?
Where's the learning though? Like, where's like that's the thing. It's just like, oh yeah, we're just learning how to hide this from the public a little bit better. And like, you know, whoever like brings it up is just like some nerd who like cares way too much about it, and like you shouldn't have to worry about where this money is going.
Yeah.
As it goes back to shout out to the old Bugle episode where Andy Zaltzman, I think he had a joke about like some like EU bailout where he was saying, where are they getting the money? It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, Toby is then not listening to Sam's story. Toby's not listening to Sam's oil story. Sam's trying to give his plight to Toby. Toby is not even.
Toby is checked the fuck out.
Yeah, not in the room. CJ takes blame. CJ like comes up to Toby and takes complete blame for the leak. She says, "I'm Spartacus. Leaks happen. Blame me for it." Like,
Toby's a bad liar.
Yes, Toby's a terrible liar because Toby is basically saying that like, well, I'm just worried for like when the big leak is going to come out. And CJ's like, well, what's the big leak?
Sam,
like,
we kept Sam and hookers under wraps.
Right.
We handled your bout of insider trading.
We handled Leo and
Leo being the leader of our government being outed as a fucking like addict. You know, what else is happening? He's like, oh nothing.
No big deal though. No big deal. But yeah, he cannot tell her why he's on the prowl, but CJ knows he's bullshitting. And he doesn't throw her off his scent at all. President tells Oliver about the medical thing that he signed for Zoe, the application where he did not disclose he had MS. And then says that, okay, we have a bad moon rising. And I think that's the second song reference I've heard for this season.
Yeah. Aaron was in his bag on the 80s rock.
Yeah, well, I think this is CCR. This is like 60s, 70s rock, but whatever. But then Oliver then basically gets real. Gives the
worst legal advice ever.
Really? Like, I would rather have Saul Goodman any day of the week.
Oh, of course. Give me
any day.
That's who Bartlett really needs.
Give me Jimmy. That's what I would say. Because this lawyer basically, like, Oliver just tells him, like, okay, well, you're going to do everything I'm going to say. These okay, we're going to put on the most, like, bloodthirsty Republicans coming out for you, trying to find any mistake on there. And you're going to sit down for them for every deposition. You're going to answer every phone call. If I need you there for it, like, you're going to be there. Your policy is going to be bring it on. And if you don't do that, I'm walking. To which I would say, yes.
Walk, motherfucker. Bye.
Bye.
I'm going to find a good lawyer. Bye.
Yeah, that dude's a fiend, and you need to go with someone who's going to offer more friendly counsel. So I would go the other way and find private counsel. But to which Bartlett, they have to portray this guy, like this Northern Democrat, as like the rule follower that Joe Biden wants to perceive himself to be himself, and say, bring it on, man. I've already got everything out in the open.
Yeah, that's a very Biden move. And it hasn't worked for him. Like,
no, I mean, he did finally acknowledge his 7th granddaughter, though. That's at least a step forward.
Yeah, I saw that. Family values.
Right. Nothing but family values. No, nothing like having your Connor Roy at
right.
the end of the line.
I mean, he and RFK can find common ground there of like how sometimes you just don't want to acknowledge members of your family. Sometimes you will just keep them locked up in a compound somewhere.
Yeah. Rosemary Kennedy joke, everybody.
Yep.
Keep it light. Don't forget, guys. The Kennedys are completely compromised. Completely.
So fucked up. John Stewart wrote a great John Stewart in this collection of little humor short stories, naked pictures of famous people. He wrote a really funny piece about like a college visit to the Kennedy compound.
Oh my God. Man,
just like when your college roommate is a Kennedy and you spend a weekend on the compound.
And Ted Kennedy, don't let Ted drive you home.
Right, exactly. No, it's full of stuff like that. It's full of stuff like that. It's hilarious.
That's so fucked up. But just the fact that Succession completely just like, no, we're gonna take a page out of Ted Kennedy's life and just do that with Kendall Roy all of a sudden, like, no problem. It's gonna be a huge part of the series, but like,
although it didn't really come back, like we all.
I think it did. I think it did.
I mean, it did in the final conversation.
That's when it mattered. That's when it mattered, in my opinion, because I think throughout the arc of that whole show. And sorry to get into I didn't announce Succession on the intro or anything or in the title, but like one of the big themes of Succession was like how much being honest with your family meant. And like how much of a big theme that is of like, yeah, you're always completely bullshitting your family. You're always like, and eventually like that's all their dad ever did. And that at the end, like what was connecting the siblings in the middle of the series is like when they had those little bits of honesty, which tended to be guys like, I'm really sick of how dad's treating us. Like that's when they bonded. Is when they were just being honest about like dad's being fucked up and we're hurt a little bit. Like that's when they were bonding the most, or like they were finally uniting around like, oh, there's going to be like, we're all united on like meal for a king. We know who the king's going to be. We're on the same page with this. That's when they feel united.
And
but then
one of the things that's interesting about Succession is that it's largely based on like the Murdoch family, but when you look into like other media moguls, like Murdoch is kind of the most boring family that he didn't do like Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, Robert Maxwell, who man, even if you ignore what Ghislaine was up to, Robert Maxwell, that could be a whole show in itself, or
It really could.
or Summer Redstone and the whole fight over his like decrepit corpse.
I think in succession, like the Redstone, that comparison makes a lot of sense to me.
That's Sandy. Almost more. That's the Sandys.
Yeah. But like it's that faction even still being represented in there. But it's like how many elements they're able to take from these elite families, not even just in like media moguls, but just in terms of like if you're a cult of personality family, or you're just a family that has like, you have like DuPont money or something like that, where it's like you're so generationally wealthy, all your kids could fuck off with it and you'd still have enough to go for generations.
Yeah. Walton money now, where like a branch of the family can just buy the Broncos and chill.
Or what's going to be soon Bezos money.
Bezos money, yeah.
Musk money's going away, so that's...
We'll see. I mean, that's the thing. He has enough money that he can just waste it all on ruining giant social media platforms.
Well, I mean, here's hoping he keeps just like fucking it, like just tossing it away still. Like here's hoping.
Yeah, spend another $10 billion developing a pay platform that no one will use.
I mean, I'm glad people are finally seeing Twitter as the cesspool like it always has been. Like it's like they're just willing to acknowledge it now. It's like, is it getting worse? Like I don't know who to say. I don't go on Twitter. It's always
I have rarely, if ever, really gone on Twitter.
And
I'm more of a Reddit guy. I like my own cesspool.
Well, I avoid that one for the most part as well. But that's Twitter, especially, man. Like, man, goodbye. If only Elon Musk were to buy Twitter and like ruin that too. I'm sorry, buy Reddit and ruin that too. That would be. I'd be supportive of it. Like, if some billionaire.
I mean, Reddit is done a good job of ruining itself, honestly.
But it's like, that was Twitter too. Twitter already was like ruining itself.
Twitter had never turned a profit even before Elon like took over and lost all of his advertisers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also just sad. It just in terms to make money as a platform, you just have to sell to advertisers too. That's the way it works now.
That's kind of always the way it's worked, though. Really, like. I mean, broadcast television, even radio from like the first days of newspapers, like really there hasn't ever been like a form of media that wasn't so heavily subsidized by advertising.
Well, I think the very start of the internet was much more government subsidized than it was corporate, but it got. I mean, of course, like they got their hands into it, and I think the government welcomed that with open arms because that's.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that more than government subsidized, it was more just the hobbyist field. Like, you didn't have it. It was way wider and way shallower, and there was, you could just start a website and like throw money at it for a few years without even having to worry about monetization.
Yeah. Which I think it'd be, I'm a little more, I would lean towards that a bit more as opposed to.
But it was never sustainable though. I mean, from the day, like, we talked about the .com bubble here, like, everybody was like way in on the internet before they realized that it's actually pretty hard to make money off of it.
Well, I mean, but I think it's kind of just like, I don't think you shouldn't really have to make money off of it. Like it should just be like a tool. It's like a library. A library doesn't really like make money either, but it's much more.
A library doesn't produce new content though either.
That is true.
Content.
That is true, but. I mean, the thing is, though, is at the end of the day, like to make art or to make content, should you have to be motivated by money or should you just have to be motivated by making content?
Hey, I am all favor for a like cashless utopia where like everyone is free to just pursue art for the sake of art.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I have both been both done artistic projects that have not yielded us.
Oh, of course.
And it's like,
I mean, we're doing one right now.
Right, exactly. Right, but it still is like it's the labor of love, and that's kind of just what you'd rather have, as opposed to just we can like astroturf this project and like upsell this like one thing that we really want. And and I got Joe Rogan's Alpha Brain to sponsor. So it's like,
hit me up,
awesome.
Alpha Brain. I will compromise all my morals, all my values for like $1,000 a month. Definitely.
Yeah, well, we gotta get enough subscribers to get that Alpha Brain. We gotta get the right audience.
So please like and subscribe if you want more of this riveting type of conversation, and if you want to allow us to whore ourselves out and completely compromise our values.
To sell you non-FDA approved substances that at this point A-list celebrity is going to promote on his $1 billion podcast.
Yeah.
But I think folks, that's really all we got right now. Tim,
yeah.
What are our next 2 episodes for next week?
I think we should just watch the last 3 of this season, because like I think a lot of these plot heavy episodes we end up not having that much to say because there's less like political issues for us. But I don't want to skip these because I think they're good plots and acting episodes. So I think we should just bang out the rest of the season next week.
Let's bang it. Is the third one a 2-parter, or is it just
no?
Okay.
I think it's kind of like a 3-parter from here to the end, really.
Okay. Do we want to just bang out all 3 next week, or
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, let's bang out all next. Yeah,
we got a triple episode extravaganza next week, folks. So be sure to like and subscribe. Check out jamescook@bandcamp.com for incredible music, and be sure to visit jennifermunch.com if you want to get some design needs, because she designed our awesome logo.
That's right, she did. I think that's all for us. So until next time, keep working.
Keep on working.